The battle of strongest sorcerer is determined, but what does this mean going forward? Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 235 spoilers. The chapter commences with Gojo swiftly regenerating his right hand while Agito is seen being overwhelmed in the background. The narrator alludes that Gojo's power has surged owing to the manifestation of 2 black flashes, and for the first time in a millennium, Ryomen Sukuna displays a rare sign of nervousness. Okay, so I appreciate Gege showing and not telling us that the black flash that Gojo landed on Agito was a black flash. I mean, it sort of looked like it, but typically they would say it initially to how Gojo did it on Sukuna the first time. In any case, Agito is eviscerated, which I feel like was obvious, but now we got the confirmation. And as if Sukuna wasn't the punching bag in the fandom for the past month, now we have the narrator actually say Sukuna is nervous. Gojo delivers a powerful strike, landing the 3rd black flash on Myamura, and then reappears directly in front of Sukuna, whose visible unease is evident. It's just so crazy to me how Sukuna somehow landed a 3v1 in his favor, and now this man lost one, he's about to lose another one, spoilers, and he is sweating bullets. Sukuna attempts to land a punch, but Gojo swiftly blocks it and hurls Sukuna towards Myamura, executing the 4th black flash. Myamura intervenes to shield Sukuna from the black flash, but is subsequently flung aside. So Sukuna jokes aside, the man is durable. Myamura is also durable. Also, Gojo pulling off 4 black flashes is now tied with Yuji and Nanami. Following this, Gojo initiates the incantation for his next attack. Sukuna surmises that it could be the curse technique reversal red and devises a strategy for Myamura to tank it and adapt to the red technique to ensure their safety. And again, because the narrator alluded to Sukuna being nervous at this time, for the sake of losing Myamura, he's willing to take that risk because he knows whatever Gojo's about to do right now with that red is going to be dangerous. But instead of firing it at Myamura, Gojo shoots red upwards. Sensing that something is wrong, Sukuna screams Myamura to act quickly. Oh, you got him screaming! You got the King of Curses screaming! Just before Myamura tries to destroy blue, Gojo appears in between and punches off Myamura. Sukuna then tries to stimulate red and make it explode with piercing blood before it clashes with blue. Props to Sukuna for trying to mess with the ability by using that piercing blood technique, which we know is Max Elephant's water. Gojo also hits Sukuna, but he tells Gojo he was late because piercing blood was already launched. But Gojo calmly begins to chant, which enhances blue in a short period. Due to this, Sukuna's attack doesn't affect blue at all. Now, I really like this because in typical shonen fashion, whenever we see one big blast already fired, there's really nothing you can do to change the trajectory. But here, despite Gojo's attack already being launched and even being affected somewhat, Gojo is enchanting to reinforce the ability of his launch attack. Gojo begins to chant for Hollow Purple, and we see Yuta in the base apologizing that if a hindrance like him was at the battlefield, then Gojo couldn't have pulled this off. And it's crazy how someone like Yuta is calling himself a hindrance in this situation, but he's right. And although I can appreciate what happened last week with Yuta wanting to step in to help his sensei, I really like how Hikari had to pull him in and say, hey man, that wasn't the contingency plan. We know the contingency plan. So I think if there's anything I will say shame on you, Yuta, is for disregarding the plan that Gojo has instructed his students from the get before the battle even begun. Regardless, blue and red merges as Gojo says Hollow Purple. And the panel looks beautiful here because it looks like Shinjuku got decimated, which is what the narrator said in chapter 234, that Shinjuku is going to have a big blast. Definitely cement a historic landfall on the city of Shinjuku. Gojo blasts everyone, including himself, with Hollow Purple. We can see Myamura's wheel getting destroyed in the following panels. So Agito gone, Myamura gone. We see the aftermath of the blast. A part of the city is destroyed and Sukuna is ragged and torn apart. He's even missing his left hand. But Gojo is still alive and well, though the purple hit him too. Since it was made up with his own curse energy, it didn't affect him much. Kusakabe points out that Sukuna, now without Myamura and slow healing, won't be able to use domain amplification. And I can't wait for the full chapter release to come out because this is what Gojo said. Perhaps you haven't realized it yet. The only reason you were the strongest sorcerer in history was simply because I wasn't born yet. The goosebumps, the goosebumps. He really said that to Sukuna. Take that, you fraud! Sukuna, missing limbs, finally goes up to Gojo, shakes his hand and says, congratulations, you are now the strongest. Obviously, I'm just kidding. That's not what he said, but maybe in some alternate universe, that's probably what happened. So what does this mean going forward? I think many of us just thought for the sake of plot, Gojo had to die, he had to lose because the real final battle has to somehow involve Yuji versus Sukuna in some type of way. I mean, it could be different, but with the narrator saying, or Kusakabe just saying the battle of the strongest is over, I also feel like this is indirectly Gege saying this battle between Gojo and Sukuna is done. I don't think we're going to get around 2. So what happens definitively, even if Gojo is the victor, he might die in the next chapter, or Kenjaku's lurking in the shadows to finally grab a weakened Sukuna to merge him with the big blob monster that he's creating for the Culling games. That's yet to be determined. I think also one of the many things we have to keep in mind as well is Yorozu's gift, and what does that imply for Sukuna? Is this a moment where Sukuna does admit defeat and then the gift like just recovers his body instantly and that's the end of it? Or because this whole battle has been about trying to get Megumi away from Sukuna, there could be something lurking with the 10 shadows that we haven't seen yet, because Sukuna and Megumi's body has shown what Megumi could be at 100% times 10, right? With the Nue totality, the creation of Agito, and just what he's done with the other Shikigami when he's taken over Fushigoro's body. So I can't help but wonder if now there's a stipulation where with Mahoraga finally defeated and the 10 shadows basically knocked out as well, does that fit the requirement of what the ultimate 10 shadows technique can surmount? Like, is the defeat of the 10 shadows part of a prerequisite to see the full domination of what that ability can truly do? But exciting stuff nevertheless. Sukuna fans, I'm sorry, you gotta take the L. Gojo is the strongest. There is going to be a 1-week break, but with Gojo still alive, what does this mean for the story going forward? And to check out other incredible battles from Jujutsu Kaisen, you're gonna want to click on this video right here.